Introduction. Mystery and Unexplained Cases. Slow ambient hum. A deep echo fades in. There are stories that slip between the cracks of history. Events that were never fully explained. Places that refuse to stay silent. Welcome to Mystery and Unexplained Cases, a journey into the shadows where truth blurs into myth, and the impossible becomes disturbingly real. Tonight, we open a new chapter in the world's darkest archives. Cases whispered about in old newspapers, buried in forgotten police files, and retold in the quiet corners of towns that prefer to forget. Some of these mysteries happened in broad daylight. Some took place in houses that still stand today. Others are nothing but faint legends, carried by fear and time. But every one of them has a question at its center. A question no one has been able to answer. Not fully. Not safely. Not without losing something in the process. In this series we will explore real-life mysteries, cold cases that reopen themselves, disappearances with no footprints, voices heard on recordings when no one was there, and events witnessed by dozens of people, yet remembered differently by every single one of them. Urban legends. Stories passed from mouth to mouth, changing with every generation, yet always somehow staying the same. Legends of roads no one drives at night, mirrors you should never speak to, and names you must not say out loud. Cursed locations. There are places on this earth where the air feels wrong, where travelers vanish, compasses fail, and locals warn you not to stay past sunset. We will walk through abandoned towns, hollow forests, sealed rooms, and ruins whispered to be alive. But before we begin tonight's investigation, I need to warn you, these stories do not behave like ordinary tales. Some people report strange dreams after listening. Others hear tapping on their walls. And a few have written back to say the mystery followed them home. If you're ready to continue, grab a light, make sure the doors are locked, and keep your eyes on the shadows. They tend to move when you aren't looking. Because tonight's case is one of the darkest in our archive. One that many investigators refuse to continue. One that seems to whisper, even when no one is listening. It begins with a place everyone thought was abandoned. Until the night someone heard a voice calling from inside. This is the story of, insert your mystery title here, and what happened when the truth tried to speak for itself. The house that called out after midnight. Mystery and Unexplained Case. The place everyone thought was abandoned. Until the night someone heard a voice calling from inside. It happened just after midnight on a cold autumn evening. The street was silent, every window in the neighborhood dark. Yet from inside the old Merriweather house, a voice echoed through the stillness. Is someone out there? A man walking his dog stopped dead in his tracks. The voice was soft, almost uncertain, but unmistakably human. The dog began to growl, the fur along its back rising as if something invisible moved in the air around them. The house had been empty for 31 years. Everyone knew that. Everyone avoided it. And no one, absolutely no one, had ever heard it speak. The man hurried home and called the police. 2 officers arrived minutes later, their flashlights trembling in their hands as they stepped toward the rotting porch. They heard it too. Help! I'm still here. The voice floated through the broken window in a breathless whisper. But the strangest thing was where it came from. The second-floor hallway, where, according to town records, there was no floor left at all. Officer Hayes swallowed hard. His partner, Miller, stepped back. Radio for backup, Miller said. But Hayes shook his head. No, he whispered. Someone's in there. They need us. What the officers discovered inside. The moment Hayes pushed open the door, a wave of icy air rolled out. Not cold like winter. Cold like a basement left sealed for decades. Cold like something breathing behind the walls. Their flashlights cut through the dust. Old family photos lay scattered across the floor, each one scratched across the eyes. Deep grooves, like claw marks, raked across the wallpaper. Then the voice spoke again. Louder this time. Don't leave me alone again. Please. Both officers jerked their lights toward the staircase. But the moment the beams hit the steps, they saw something impossible. Every stair was covered in fresh footprints. Small footprints. The kind a child would make. Dust displaced, wood creaking. As if someone had run up the stairs just seconds earlier. But there were no return footprints coming down. Hayes whispered, "We're not alone here. The shadow in the hallway. The two officers climbed slowly, every step complaining under their weight. When they reached the top, the hallway yawned in darkness. That was when they noticed it. A shadow at the far end of the hall. It wasn't shaped like a person. It wasn't shaped like anything living. It stretched too long, lingering beneath the flicker of a dying ceiling light. And then, it moved. Not toward them. Not away. It shifted, as if turning to look at them, even though it had no face. Hayes whispered, "Show us where you are." And the voice, much closer now, breathed, "Behind you." The vanishing. Both officers spun around, flashlights sweeping across the hallway. And that's when Miller screamed. There, right behind them, stood a small girl, her skin pale as dust, her dress torn at the hem. She stared at them with wide, empty eyes, and slowly raised her hand to point toward a door at the end of the hall. Before either man could speak, she disappeared. No fade. No blur. Just gone, like someone switching off a light. Hayes felt something cold brush past his ear. A whisper. "You're next." What the police found the next morning. Backup finally arrived at dawn. But when they entered the house, both officers were missing. Only their flashlights remained, still glowing weakly on the dusty floor. Hayes' body camera had been ripped from his vest and smashed. Miller's was still intact, but what it recorded was worse than anything the department had expected. At 3:14 a.m., Miller's camera captured a voice. Not the girls, not the officers, something deeper. Older and angry. A voice that growled. "You heard me. Now you belong here." Then the camera fell, as if pulled from his chest. The video ended there. Both officers were never seen again. And to this day, anyone who walks past the Merriweather house swears they hear voices inside, calling out for help, calling out your name, calling you to enter.